Hey guys, gonna do a my weekly question here from Storyworth, which is this week. It's how has the country changed during your lifetime? So, um, I'm gonna answer it two ways. I'm gonna give two time periods. So, first off, when I think back to in my lifetime so far, I would say up until I don't know. I mean, for the most part, if I was born in '74, I mean, up until 2000, 2005. I mean, I think the country was just a little more, I mean, we were a little nicer, right? Everybody was a little less worried. And I don't think there's any secret that as social media came along, everybody gets a little more, I don't know, crazy, right? For the lack of a better term. They're constantly worried, right? Because hey, I read an article on this website and they said this, and they said this is going to kill us, and this is going to kill us, and they said there's too many immigrants coming in, and they said, you know, I don't even know. I mean, who knows? There's every crazy thing, fluoride in the water is going to kill us, and vaccines are the worst. I mean, you name it, right? There's just bad stuff everywhere on the internet. So you read that. So I think prior to social media, and I'm not going to throw internet in it because internet, I mean, for the most part, a lot of it's right. Websites of a business and a restaurant. And most of the internet's great. Social media is where all the horrible people and their opinions come in. But I think prior to the social media stuff, that's where everybody just didn't worry so much, right? So back to your kids, they just went out and played. Like as a kid, I growing up in other videos, I've mentioned it that we just went out and played, and we were just gone for hours and hours on end. There was no cell phones, there was no nothing. We didn't have pagers, we didn't have anything. You were just gone, and it was fine. Now I think everybody's watched too many Datelines and too many crime scene movies and TV shows and reads about abductions, and every once in a while you will see somebody that goes, just so the chances of your kid getting kidnapped by a total stranger off the street, drug into a van, and hauled off is 0.000000793. I mean, there's just it's just not something to worry about. It doesn't matter. You should worry that when you hop in a car that you're gonna get in a wreck. That's what there's a real worry. Accidents happen every day, and people get hurt, people die, people all that stuff. So I think how has the country changed? Like we used to be less scared, less worried, less miserable all the time. Um, Now I think when Obama took over, I think that bothered a lot of people. They were like, "Oh my God, did we just elect a black guy? Did we just elect a black guy whose name was Barack Hussein Obama?" Right? It sounds like you know, I mean, it depends on when you watch this video, but does it sound like a terrorist name, right? And that did we just do this? This is crazy. So yeah, there was a little, after he had two terms in office, he somehow won the second one, and somehow nobody killed him. Some crazy right white nationalist group didn't kill him. So there, of course, was a backlash, right? And now we went from that to electing a black person to now having a guy like Trump come in and just really take up the hatred and opened up parts of the internet that, man, maybe we didn't. The good part about the internet is it does give everybody a voice, and the bad part is it gives everybody a voice. So I mean, people living in the sticks, rural people, uneducated, high religion, all those types of things, those people now have a voice, and they can get on the internet and throw out crazy ideas or just comment with some hatred, and things start to get a little ugly. And and there's a lot of people like that, right? We found out with Trump, getting elected a couple times now. I just got elected a little bit ago, or put in office, I don't know, a week or so ago. So it opens up to make it okay. So now everybody is just like in their corners and getting ugly, right? So I think I'm answering maybe this question too much on politics, but let me finish this thought. Is Yeah, we really are hating each other because we have totally opposite views, right? We just do. I mean, one side is, you know, anybody that isn't born here and a pure American needs to get out and go home unless you go through a 7-year process to become a citizen here. And the other side, it's like, hey, we need helpers, we need work, we need things done, and if immigrants want to come over, let's do it. Let's make this pathway easy and let's do it. So anyway, on the political side, we just got ugly because minus 9/11, right? When the World Trade Centers got attacked. Um, Minus that and kind of, you know, but people just didn't talk about politics that much. Or maybe I hung around stupid people, but we just didn't talk about it. Nobody cared because nothing mattered. It wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, there was some stuff with, of course, there's always some different scandals. Reagan at the end of his was having dementia, and, was Nancy Reagan running the country. And Clinton, is having affairs with freaking interns and some of that stuff. But for the most part, nobody really cared what Obama did or what George Bush Jr. did, or Clinton, minus his scandals. Like, there's like, yeah, country's running great. That we were running at a surplus at that point, right? It was great. We were knocking down the debt, but nobody really talked about it a whole lot. I mean, minus George Bush Sr. saying like no new taxes, and then comes in and puts taxes in. You're like, well, you really don't want to be reelected. But it was just something that we didn't talk about. Now it's constant. It's everywhere you go. That's what we talk about. So, but let me deal with this question on maybe another way or two, which is, how has the country changed? So I think we are more. There's more rich people and there's more poor people. There's less middle class. So it's kind of like, if you're doing good, you're doing really good. Especially of people that I hang around with, because we do okay. So then you're around people that kind of do okay. But I think there's more of that. I don't know if I think the politicians probably want us to think that we hate other races. And of course, there are people that do, right? There are people that hate Muslims and people that hate black people and hate brown people and Jews and everybody. But I don't know if it's that big a deal as much today as it has been in the past. I think as people get older, as my generation gets older, and especially my parents, who are kind of, I figure, like the last, generation of real, like, man, they just don't really like minorities. And, yeah. But I think that gets less and less. But I think more and more it becomes richer and poor, because the rich are kind of insatiable when it comes to their appetite for more and for greed, right? It's not, hey, I'm filthy rich, let me go give back a bunch of money and let me build libraries and schools and universities and, museums. We just don't see that. We see them just racking up more and more wealth, and then taking their money and going, I'm going to see if we can go to Mars, and I'm going to see if we can have submarines that go down to the bottom of the earth and have that be a ride that rich people can take and send people up into space. And you're like, we're just letting these our billionaire class and 100 millionaire people. There's no guilt, right? So I would think that there's another change, is that we used to live in these small towns, and everybody knew you, right? And there were just less people around. So there are stories of people, especially like my uncles and that generation, where maybe they were doing well. Maybe they were an insurance guy or a stockbroker or a doctor, and they lived in a small town, and they made really good money, that they felt horrible like going out and buying a Corvette, because they're like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to look at me and go, oh, how much is Bill making? Now he's, how much am I paying him? It looks like he's doing all right. I'm over here kind of struggling, and he's over there driving, and that's around. Well, now as things got bigger and you have companies that maybe you don't sell to your neighbors, right? Like a doctor or a stockbroker. Maybe there's so many, like I work for a big software company, and I don't ever see anybody. Nobody knows what I do. I can go buy whatever I want, and I can hoard all my wealth, and nobody really cares, and I can just buy awesome stuff. And so I think there's less looking out for your fellow man, right? There's more greed, there's more, right? Again, social media, right? We can always go back to a lot of problems. And I love social media. I think it's great and it's wonderful. I think people are horrible how they use it and how they digest it. They let the algorithm work against them. I'm a type of guy that has a Facebook account, but I follow car people and business people. I have like 6 friends on Facebook. I don't follow friends. I don't read stories about stupid crap because I don't want that stupid crap showing back up in my feed, right? So I just get stories on, look at this cool old Beamer, or look at this vacation spot that looks awesome. I kind of use it for things that I want, right? Not what I want the algorithm to feed me. Um, so I think that has changed people because now they want to go out and they want to buy a bigger boat because they want to post it on there. Where me, I'm more like the richer I get, the less I post, right? I don't want it becomes bragging. Now, I'm not sending it out there for anybody. I've got 6 friends and they're Sierra and Jen and mom and dad and Uncle Gary and Kit and people like that. So they don't really care if I post a picture of a car, but I want to keep those pictures. I post my cars is about the only thing I post. Mostly because I just want a place to be able to go back and look like, oh man, I remember I had that thing. Yeah, that was a great car. But other people are posting it so other friends see it. I post it and, Facebook tells me all the time, like, hey, so-and-so wants to friend you. And I'm like, no, I don't want you seeing all my stuff. So I keep it private, right? I don't want people knowing that stuff and seeing it. So, but I think the majority of people don't. I think the majority of people are like, look at this incredible vacation I went on. Look at this incredible house that I have. Look at my car that I just bought a brand new Range Rover and look how awesome it is. Now I'm gonna turn around and do something kind of like that, but we're retiring. Jen and I are, and we're gonna go on vacation. We are gonna post videos of where we go and what we're doing and how it was, but we're not doing it to show off. We're doing it because we want to show other people, like, hey, this is what it's like. We're gonna be like all those regular bloggers that do it, but you can make money from it, right? And if I can make, there are lots of people that do really bad videos that don't have very many followers, and they're getting $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. One guy I follow, he's seriously done like 80 videos, and he's awesome. He posts what he makes every month on YouTube, on his YouTube channel. He's up to like $4,800 a month. I'm like, you guy's gonna make $100,000 next year on doing these little retirement and vacation videos. Like, that's great. That's awesome for him, and he now gets to go to better places. And he says it. He's like, man, I love that you guys keep watching these. I'll keep making them if you keep watching them. And this allows me to go travel more. This is great. So I appreciate, you taking time and watching it. And like, man, that's great. So I want to do that. I think that'd be fun. And it'd give you something to do in retirement. But I'm not doing it to like, look what a baller I am. I'm doing it because like, hey, I want to go do more fun stuff. And if somebody's got to do it, I could do it. And YouTube will pay me. That'd be great. But I think overall, if I would say, how has the country changed in my lifetime? I'd say everybody's greedier and more showy. They're less like I felt like you would grow up, you're like, man, that guy over there, that guy's filthy rich. You wouldn't know it. Like that guy, like Bruce Gardner, that friend of mine. He's just not a guy that you look at or you think, like, I bet you that guy's the richest guy in the room. I don't think people would pick that out. But because he's just more demure. He's just more, it's understated, and it's great. I think that's awesome, and I think that's how the country has changed. We've gotten more, right? Trump is just he's the end product of all this, is that we used to be more like, hey, let's just have Reagan and Obama and quieter people, leading us. And now we're like, no, big, brash, ugly, because that's who we are, especially in America. The country has just become ugly and bigger and greedier and grosser and fatter and everything. We're just turning into the worst form of ourselves. So that was a lot longer answer than I was planning on doing, but that is my answer. Is how's the country changed? I think we're not getting better. That's for sure. It's getting uglier and grosser and less friendly to your fellow man and your neighbor. So that's my answer. See you guys.